In Sweden, I'll be honest, I was more of a Canadian than a Quebecois. I was more of a Canadian than Quebecois in Sweden. I think because myself, I didn't present myself as, hi, I'm from Quebec. I would just say I'm from Canada, and people would automatically understand that. When they figured out I was from Quebec, though, in Sweden, I became super popular because obviously they had their 2 or 3 best hockey players playing for the Nordiques at the time. So that was very big. Like it made me a lot of friends right away.
I identify myself more as a Canadian.
I would say Canadian, depending on where I was. I guess if I was going to France, my first inclination would be to say that I was from Montreal. And even in the States, just because they would have knowledge of where Montreal is. But if I would leave North America and go, for example, I was traveling in Asia for a while, I would definitely say I was Canadian because they wouldn't know where Quebec was usually.
I identify myself as First Nations.
Canadian. Sometimes more specifically Quebecois. I think more people know of Montreal than Quebec. So I don't think there's really much point. Even Canada is sometimes far-fetched. Depends on what countries you're visiting and who you're talking to, right?
Québécoise tout le temps. Malheureusement, la plupart du temps, régulièrement, les gens ne savent pas, connaissent pas. Donc, je suis obligée de donner une référence. Montréal, en général, les gens connaissent. Québec, non. Mais Montréal, c'est au Canada pour la majorité des gens que je rencontre à l'extérieur de mon pays.
Québécois pur laine to me is essentially the old school Québécois who were raised in Quebec by Québécois parents of previous generations. So like myself, I consider myself 100% Québécois, but not pur laine in the old school term, like, 100% Francophone, French, nothing else but French, and raised possibly 2, 3, and 4 generations in Quebec, and literally like this house was built by your great grandfather and we all lived in it, like the old school fantasy of what used to be the Québécois people.
I would say Québécois are proud and gregarious and like to, this is again my experience compared to my American family, the Québécois like to sing and drink and dance, and break out the guitar and this kind of stuff, and more warmth. They're a warmer they have a warmer culture, but not necessarily welcoming to everyone. You're a little guarded, but and defensive. Yeah, definitely some insecurities there. Yeah, but definitely, I can't, these are the 2 words I would use, would be proud and gregarious.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'd define Québécois as mostly a French-speaking person that is at the same time proud of his cultural heritage of speaking French, Nouvelle-France and all that. Really, they're a really diverse people as well. I get along with them very well.
See, that's sort of a tough question, I guess. I consider myself Québécois, for sure. A Quebecer. I understand that probably a lot of Quebecers would disagree because I'm an Anglophone, but I consider myself a Quebecer, so I'd say someone from Quebec.
C'est souvent quelqu'un qui se mêle pas de ses affaires, qui aime bien se mêler des affaires de ses voisins. On est des potineux, les Québécois, on aime bien... je pense qu'on aime bien parler de monsieur, madame, d'à côté, d'en face. Mais en même temps, on aime bien... ça nous dérange pas d'y prêter du sucre s'ils viennent nous en demander. Puis, on va pas se gêner non plus pour aller en demander quand on en a besoin. Donc, je pense que c'est une belle histoire entre de la franchise et puis... une belle histoire de franchise et puis de, je sais pas, de cohabitation. On est un peuple qui a vécu dans le froid tellement longtemps qu'on a le cœur qui s'est réchauffé.
I think the term Québécois it's not what it used to be. It's become so much more unfortunately, there's that element that wants to keep it what it was. What they don't understand is growth happens, period. You can't do, there's been an influx into this province with immigrants, and you can't just say, oh, we're the pure laine, we're the real Quebecois. It says, no, everyone in this province is a Quebecois. You know, it should not be one group is better than the other, or more important or more relevant than another culture. It should be everybody in this province should be working together to improve the health and welfare, regardless if you're French, English, Jewish, Black, Native, no matter what. Exactly, you should be able to have as much equality in this province as possible, and that's what a Quebecer, and I think that's what René Lévesque really wanted, was pure equality, and not gender bias, just equality right across the board. And people should understand that. And if you really want a province that's going to survive and is going to really flourish, you have to break down that. You have to break down the stereotypes, because this French English bullshit, it's getting old, and it's time that people just really just open their eyes and say, oh, he speaks English, but he looks like an interesting person, so I'm going to go and say hi. You know, that's what we should be doing. We should be using an open hand, not a fist. You're never going to get anywhere with a fist.